Come on, big gold belt. Come on, y'all.
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, My Desire, and of course, the one and only Denny C23 is in the building.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
First and foremost, we want to apologize to y'all, but we had no idea they were dropping these episodes all together. And had we known, we would have gave y'all what y'all wanted, okay? The first time around. But we here, and this is going to be episode 5 and 6, because as you know, we already dropped episode 4. So, without further ado, Bel-Air, Peacock, let's get into it. So, here we are, okay? The kids have decided that they want to get fancy, okay? They want to do so. I hope that my future kids do something like this when they become of age, because I don't want the green eggs and ham anniversary.
Listen,
you know
I've been a father for 10 years, and I have not received a birthday, Father's Day, any type of thing like that. So hopefully when I'm married, I get a anniversary breakfast like that. Okay?
I want that
maybe that's what it is. It got to be the anniversary. Okay, so
maybe that's what
we're gonna see, man.
So we love this. So the kids, you know, they cook breakfast. Will, Carlton, Ashley, you know, plan, you know, get the trays and everything set up. They walk into the room and they notice that Uncle Phil is not in there. They kind of like look at each other, kind of trying to figure it out. But you know, I give, you know, what I thought about.
It's the side eye for everybody. For me,
the complete side eye, but also quick thinking on Uncle Phil's part to, you know, like, let me get up in here and try to like navigate a little something, right? So he gives this little whack story about he was working in the office late, he fell asleep downstairs, this and that, third, yada yada yada. But you know, they say thank you, and the kids leave the room, and not even 2 seconds after the kids leave the room, they already arguing. So Ashley, like, I knew this was some bullshit, right? Because Ashley be sniffing stuff out. She's just that kind of kid.
But my thing is, though, they all had a birth situation going on. When
yeah,
like,
they did.
Nah, where's Uncle Phil? Where's Dad? Like, why you slept in the office?
Listen, I agree with Tone. They should have thicker walls, because why y'all walls so thin? Like, this is a real question. Like, this is
no, that's a fact.
But these new houses, they be built out of paper, Tone, for real. So
hey, man, all I'm saying is, mind your business. Mind your business. Stay in the child's place.
Listen, I mean, they did. They all dispersed. Carlton did what Carlton does. I feel like Carlton is a little bit me, personality-wise. Like, he's the one that like calms everybody down. He's like, don't worry about it. It's gonna be fine, right? Like, the house could be on fire. Carlton will still be like, it's fine. Like, everything is fine. Which is
low key. He is very calm and very like stressful situations, which is kind of ironic, being that he's the one who does the drugs and the stuff. So or at least in the past, he was the one to have done these things. I should say.
Shout out to Carlton's growth, because we see you, Carlton, and we appreciate you. And so of course, you know, after this little argument and whatnot, Viv gets a DM from the one and only Chef Sharif, who, as we said in the last episode, all those likes, you know what I'm saying, came from her account. And so it's interesting how kind of quick and anxious she got when Phil was like, is everything okay? Or like, what's going on? She's like, oh, you know, nothing. And, you know, whatever. And we're thinking, oh, this man needs to stay in his place, because Sharif is wilding. He knows that Viv is married. This is like low-key disrespectful, but you know, whatevs.
For me though, I feel like Viv should have nipped it in the bud from there too. If she would have nipped it in the bud from the beginning, actually, like, oh, this whole situation is just getting on my nerves, because you currently mad at your husband for the same thing that you're trying to do, like, and it's freaking weird to me. And the difference is, the husband didn't even try. The girl was just throwing himself at him. And you are literally welcoming this guy in, like, every time.
I mean, is she welcoming him in? I mean, listen, they're both doing the same thing, because it wasn't until after the kiss that Phil was like, whoa. But beforehand, Geoffrey told him that she shouldn't have been that close to him in the beginning in any capacity, and he didn't listen. So in my eyes, they're both doing the same thing. Erica is just more subtle, and Sharif is just more bold.
All I'm saying, Sharif, step off.
I mean, yeah, and so Erica got to back off too. I mean, they both doing the same thing.
We already know Erica need to back off, but Sharif hasn't been getting this smoke as much as Erica, and he should have been.
Erica got smoked because she disrespected by actually kissing Uncle Phil. Sharif should just get the "I'm married," like this can't go any further than what it is.
To their house.
He did send her flowers to their house, and yeah, I'm hip. Again, they should both, hit the road jack and don't come back. So, we get a little bit of Ash in this episode, right? And I'll just stick with her for right now, because there's a lot that happened in this episode with Ashley, but she's talking about getting the band together, and Aunt Viv comes in. She's trying to figure out what's going on, right? The music is loud. She's like, oh, your band is coming together, and this and the third, and Ash is like, oh, if you need me to help you wrap gifts for Dad, or like what's happening. She's like, oh no, honey, don't worry about it. Again, Ash is very suspicious, right? Like she's like, what's happening? What's going on? Right. She feels like something is being hidden. But what I like about this is still that she's just observant. She's not really saying much, but she's just being really observant. And I think that's been her character,
I feel like at this point, ask the questions you want to know the answers to. Unless you really don't want to know the answer to the questions, then leave it alone.
I mean, you gotta give it some time, you know what I mean? Because really and truly, it's just one day, right? This is just according to what's happening. This is all just happening in one day, and I agree with Carlton. No need to panic, right? They'll sort it out. Now, you give me a week later, okay, maybe I'm gonna start asking questions. But one day, feel like just relax a second, like let it do what it's doing.
Right. So. But Ashley also just feels that it's been fake for a long time now. So now he's not sleeping in the bed. So it really was fake. What's going on? Like, you know what I mean? She just a lot of things that people do is when they have a narrative in their head, and anything that look like it's shining light on that negativity, you're gonna run with it quicker than actually what the bigger story is. You know what I mean? And that's why I say she should have just asked some questions.
I mean, listen, you just need just one moment at a time. That's how I look at it. One moment at a time. And so, moving through this episode, like again, I said with Ash, a lot of things that happen, but it's just a lot of things that happen, and we'll just kind of flow through and let things come as they will. Of course, the boys are still, getting Blackccess off the ground. They're like, they heard that Pony Rich is coming to, the Pickleball tournament. And so they're like, yo, how do I get in? Like, what's the plug? And I can't remember the gentleman's name, but their coworker, right, who knows the ins and outs of the club, says, hey, listen, you got to go work the event. You got to get with Miss Tina. Shout out to Paula Abdul, looking good as usual.
Miss Tina.
It's so crazy. It's always weird when an older woman doesn't want to get called ma'am. Do I look like a ma'am to you? I mean,
I hope. I don't want to misgender you, but you were definitely woman presented, ma'am.
Like, I think she just ma'am is that she don't want to be called old.
Right.
And in that perspective, it's like you're calling me old, so my name is Miss Tina. And so I love her character. It's bubbly, it's rough, it's mean. It's like so many things in one, and I really like that because it's pretty cool. And so they basically, go meet her, and at first I don't know where the scene is going, low key, because I'm like, she's like, so good posture, y'all cute, and proceed to say, well, who's gonna come and show me what they got? We don't know what she's talking about until she talks. She's like, get a racket or whatever, and we're like, whoo! I was very nervous for a second. I was like, listen, we can't go down this road on Bel-Air. Nah, I wasn't.
Were you really? I wasn't.
I
Because
wasn't.
honestly, it's still a family show. I feel like.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, in the sitcom, I do believe Will, was approached by older women who tried to have sex with him, like the mothers of his girlfriends at the time or something like
try
that.
to hit on him. Yeah.
So I'm wanting to know, are we gonna see something like that? Like, is that gonna be a factor? Because there are some cougars out there that be out here trying to groom the young men, and it's a thing. So, Miss Tina, I hope you got the one. No, I'm just saying, but
I don't know. Well,
I really thought that's what Miss Tina Rose was gonna be today. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Let's be grateful that it's not, right? And so
but
the
pickleball thing, right? Also, when did that become the thing? Pickleball.
Oh, it's a thing.
Yeah, I know. I went to the tennis courts and I seen a pickleball court right next to it, and I was like,
yeah,
I didn't know I was that guy yet.
Yeah.
Maybe if Miss Tina taught me, I'd be more interested in learning how to play.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Hey, you better not no, ma'am.
Hey, listen, I said what I said. So of course, they get the part, right? And they even get new uniforms and all this jazz. And it's really cool because they, it's kind of like they level up a little bit. We go back to Viv and we see her finally meeting the young lady Destiny, who's the artist who graffitied the building and who was in her DMs, and very talented. She goes on to say that Viv is the one who inspired her. Like her very first piece, I believe it's titled Sunjoy, is where a young lady is getting her hair braided. She said, I just wanted to showcase to the world that we're more than just hardworking. Oh, Sunday's Best. Sunday's Best. Thank you.
Sunday's Best is the name.
So, and I think that I like that she gave her flowers. She honored her to say hey, you're the reason why I'm here. You're the reason why I picked up the brush to begin with. And that to me is fire, because that just shows the intentionality of wanting to become an artist, the inspiration, the choosing of the kind of work that she paints, and then also being able to say this means the world to me just to have this opportunity, and of course we talked about it being unconventional last episode with her being even just an applicant to begin with.
For me, that whole moment was so funny to me. I'm not gonna lie, because it was, you never know who's watching you, and it kind of pointed that out as far as you never know who you're inspiring. You never know who is looking up to you as far as the things that you accomplish. So the fact that Viv did this right after college, you know what I mean? So this was something that she probably didn't even put too much thought into afterwards, because she took the step back to probably help Phil get through law school or whatever the case may have been with the kids. And that during that hiatus that she was on. So the fact that to come back full circle, and not only did you inspire this woman, but you also handed this woman the award that she aspired to get because of you, who it's just a full circle effect to me. That was really funny to me, because I feel like Viv noticed that for her it was a humbling experience, because it's wow, that's my first ever work. I don't even see this anymore, you know what I mean?
Right.
So the fact that you even had this for me to autograph for you is amazing. She was fanning out for Viv, and Viv was uncomfortable because she didn't know how they appreciate it. Well, it's how they accept it at the time, but she did appreciate it, I would say. So that was really dope, because I just laughed at the dynamic, because this girl was so bubbly and what I would imagine most people will be if they got to meet their idols. So I can only imagine how I think it's kind of showed both sides of that, like the idol meeting the fan and the fan meeting the idol, and like how they genuinely respect each other's but it's kind of funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. But of course, moving in, we have Carlton, and what I love about Carlton is in this episode we really do see a lot of his growth. So Carlton has a moment where he's serving the alcohol. He notices that he's getting very shaky, that he is kind of having like flashbacks of when he actually used to drink and used to do drugs. And so he ends up, luckily Will sees him. Will says, I got it, right? Take care of your business. And then we later on see that Carlton talks to Spencer,
I like the fact that Carlton saw the triggers himself and went to call Spencer himself as well. Like, yes, Will did acknowledge that he's seen him, covered him to go take a break. But the fact that Carlton knew he needed a break at that time was so much strength. It just attests to the growth that we keep seeing over and over again with Carlton's character. So I'm really like happy about that. And it kind of also gives the viewers like that you can do it if you truly put your mind to it. You know what I mean? Like, he's overcoming every obstacle as it comes at him, honestly, and his own way, which is dope. So shout out to Carlton for handling that very well, very responsibly, because that could have went so far left. And
but it didn't. And I think that's the best thing about it, is that he noticed it, called Spencer, and he got himself out of there. So shout outs to Carlton. Of course, we got Sharif doing his I don't even know what to call it, but a whole behavior where he pops up at Viv's job because he sees that she
and this is why I said what I said. He's too comfortable. Why he feeling like he could just come pop up to your job with lunch?
Listen, I agree.
Your anniversary.
But I do think that, again, we feel like when people like all our pictures, this kind of like a little green light, and this goes to show you that it's not, right? It's not a green light. So he pops up at the job, he has lunch. She's telling him like, hey, that's not me. I'm not the one that liked your pictures. My friend had my phone, whatever. And
he like, thanks for showing me off. What do you mean? Thanks for showing me off.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That man is something else. But in the midst of all this happening, they're sitting there talking, kikiing it up, and in walks Phil. He's like, hey, happy anniversary. She goes, I didn't know you were stopping by. He said, no, it's all good. I want to take you to lunch, but it looks like you've already had lunch. Sharif, right? And basically Sharif is like, hey, there's more than enough here if you come on now, which is totally out of pocket. But Phil presents Viv with the flowers, gives her a kiss, and says, I'll see you later on tonight at home. And so I think this is a very interesting scene because it shows you the dynamic in which you can kind of just keep things cool and copacetic, but also putting, to me, it says so much more for him to be able to just give her the flowers, tell you I love you, kiss on the cheek, I'll see you at home, than even really acknowledging Sharif is present, because I think that's what sets the tone on like, yeah, I know this is my wife, like, and I'm cool on for you, bro, like, it is what it is type of thing.
Right, like, I don't even see you as a competition, bro. Right. Like, it was definitely giving that energy. And I feel Viv had an issue with the way he showed up in that moment. But I feel that was like, what was he supposed to do differently?
I don't think she had a problem with the way he showed up in that moment. I think it was the aftermath of the conversation they had.
She looked confused once he left out.
Yeah, as she should, because you here with Sharif and your husband just walked in. You should look confused. That is literally the look of somebody who, oh my God, what is gonna happen afterwards? Like, what's the conversation that we're gonna have when I get home? That's the look that I got. I don't think I got the look of like, why did he handle it like that? Because this is Phil we're talking about.
The way that she approached the conversation later is what made me think she had an issue with the way he handled it. Because she thought he was doing it to prove a point, but he was saying that he trusts his wife. He feels even though she's mad at him, she wouldn't go that low to entertain another man.
No, the conversation that they have later.
That's where he was at.
No, the issue was literally what he said later in their conversation, not what took place with Sharif and Viv.
When he said that I didn't overreact in the situation because I trust my wife.
Right, that's the problem. The whole thing that happened.
So you think he only didn't overreact because he was trying to prove a point to her?
No, I think that he didn't overreact because that's Phil. Like, what? I'm a whole man with a big law firm. I do not need to compete. I think I would have handled it the same way because I'm showing up with flowers in my hand for my wife. You see what I'm saying? So we'll get to that conversation later, as far as like what he said, but I think he handled it the way that Phil would handle it. I don't think she was upset with how he handled it. It's just a conversation is which, where it went. But
yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's the part right there though. Because he trusts his wife, he didn't have to. And she heard what she wanted to hear, like most women do.
She didn't hear anything.
Listen.
You're mixing the two up.
He said, I trust my wife.
You're mixing the two up. This conversation with Sharif is
literally... No, I'm not talking about the conversation. I'm saying the conversation later is what makes me feel that she was not happy with the way he handled it with Sharif. But I feel like I'm bringing it all together right now.
Oh, okay. Right. I don't think so. I think that he said what he said and like she was fine with it. Like it was what he said afterwards where it's like, oh, I'm not going to make a big deal out of something so small. I trust my wife. That's problematic. How you handle Sharif, she didn't mention anything about how he handled Sharif. She just said, so you think I'm overreacting because of how I handle things with Erica.
He didn't say that. That's
that's what she said. Yeah.
But he didn't say that. That's what she heard.
He said it indirectly. It was a jab. Mm-hmm. We're not gonna act like my man wasn't throwing shade. You king of shade, so you should know shade when you see it.
Listen, man.
All right, that's what I thought.
It was not shade.
Moving on to
you made a valid point.
Listen, moving on to people who do shady things. Will runs into Jackie. And he tries to play it off as if like you could really play it off. Like you haven't spoken to her since, you didn't say anything to her, so she's feeling kind of salty.
So who you calling shady, Will or Jackie? Saying who do shady things? Who are you talking about? Because I know you. Oh, okay. Because I'm about to say Jackie, you gotta let her live, man.
No, I'm not talking about Jackie. Will. So. She basically calls him out, says he didn't have her back and that he just wasn't feeling that. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. I think that she's entitled to her feelings and Will could have done better. He could have apologized sooner. She works there. You can find out where she was, had a conversation, but, didn't.
Couldn't you have really though? Because you got to think about it. My man is wearing multiple hats right now. So he's not always at the country club. He's
not always at the country club, but when he
is, and she's probably not always at the country club.
Not making excuses.
It's not making an excuse. It's the time he did see her, and he tried.
Yeah, but he also got her phone number. He could have just sent her a text message. It might not
have
been
has a girlfriend who doesn't like her. So why would he do that?
Well, you could still apologize.
I just said. You was just team Lisa.
Right? I know, but he's
respecting the boundary that Lisa probably placed. He was supposed.
We don't know about no boundary, but
I know for a fact it's a boundary. You know how I know? Because Lisa was out of pocket when she saw her. She was out of her skin, out of her body, out of her emotions. Like she was feeling real crazy when Jackie.
It's possible. If that's the case, that he wouldn't have spoke to her. He wouldn't have like leaned in to help her. All this other stuff. I feel like if there's a boundary, then you should have sat down in the golf cart with her. Like we talking boundaries. Let's get real. Like he could have stood up and still had a conversation with her. So
he could have. All right. I'm just leave my man Jabari alone. Right?
Moving along. Moving along. He's trying, but he got to get it together. And speaking of get it together, Ashley, it was also in her feels because, Olivia said some things that ruffled her feathers. And I mean, not that Olivia was wrong and not that Ashley was wrong, right? They both had valid points. Olivia said music is supposed to be, joyous and happy. And Ashley feels like, well, what's the point in making music if you don't have anything to say? So I get that
argument though. can we talk about it? Like,
I
that's really
mean,
what today we talk about. Is like some people want the lyricists, some people want the party music. Like, it is what it is, you know. Like,
you can have both, and I think that because Ashley is in such a space again where I said like she's not really being paid attention to, she wants to get her feelings out, you know, and I
right.
get it. Like it's not something that I think, you know, she is wrong for doing, but I do think that she didn't have to. It almost mirrored like kind of what the family does. They lash out at somebody else who brings up a valid point, and then they send that person away, right? So that's essentially what happened. Like Olivia brings up the point, and then she's like, well, maybe I should get going. And, you know, she's
Yeah,
like, Ashley's like, yeah, I guess so, you know, which I think
yeah.
is just,
Honestly, I seen so much Hilary and Ashley in that moment. I'm not gonna lie.
I
I
don't
seen
know
it.
if I was just looking at Hilary, but I
No,
think
it's not. It's
this,
not. I'm not saying that. It's
oh,
just
yeah, yeah.
in the daddy's girl effect that I was feeling. Like, don't talk about my family type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen Hillary like kind of backlash at jazz like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
backlash. Like, that's the type of energy that I seen coming from Ashley, which was very different for her, and I didn't expect her to explode at the girl that she likes. I really didn't see that coming.
I mean, I kind of did because when you mentioned divorce, you know, as Ashley is still young, right? She's
Mhm.
got to be like 14ish, I'm assuming, and so the last thing she wants to hear is that even a possibility, right? And all in the same day, Uncle Phil and Viv were arguing, so you got to just remember it's a trigger, right? I heard them
Right.
arguing. She's mentioning divorce, and again, she could have handled it differently, but you know, we're human. She's still a kid, so I'm not surprised.
And also, I think the girl was just saying, like, when my parents, she was just speaking from her
Yeah,
experiences, not
yeah,
necessarily saying that your parents are going to get a divorce. But
right.
you hear what you hear, and then you respond to that. So that's what she got. And I just hope that Ashley does realize she was wrong and apologizes at some point.
Yeah,
Because,
I think she will.
yeah, I
I
don't
think she
know.
will.
Because some people, once they let you go, they usually don't go back to you.
I don't know if she let her go. Like, I mean, you know, saying it's I should go home is not the same thing as letting her go. I think it's just pushing her away. I think
Yeah,
that she still values Olivia as a friend. That is her friend who's been with her since, you know, the first season pretty much, but really especially in season 2. So I think it's just temporary. She just has to have she's gonna figure it out. And if she
right.
doesn't figure it out on her own, she'll figure it out with the family. So
Only. All right.
yeah.
We'll see.
So of course, one of our favorite people, Geoffrey. Man, this storyline with Geoffrey has been getting so deep, so insane that
Yeah.
I can't wait. But I'm gonna stick here in this episode. So G found the phone the last episode, right? And he decides to offer to go out with Frederick. You know, just hey, like let's grab a bite to eat, whatever. He says I'm going down to the pub to watch the game,
Right.
and of course, knowing Geoffrey with his my spy ass finds finds Frederick at the beach and says, you know, tells him the score and then go ahead and say, you know, you would have known that if you were at the pub. And so he said, how about I just follow you because you know you're not gonna tell me because he, you know, Frederick says that, well, he said I wasn't gonna break my promise. He said, well, I'm just how about I just follow you, you know.
Right.
Follows him all the way to a hotel and finds out that it's his ex, you know, Frederick's mom, Penn. And it's crazy because that's just not
I
who
did not
I was
expect that,
expecting.
man. I was expecting this man to be low key junior mafia boss and somebody coming. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I
Yeah.
was expecting from who Frederick was saying. But it really, really like woke it up for me because it's like, wow, what more are we not seeing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so if Frederick just a bad kid who came up in the system, you know what I mean? Because as we get the full story, basically, of like his mom had to give him up because their friend apparently went to jail And that right there was like so much more depth to the story, because it's like I set this in place. So Geoffrey, all these years thinking that like she gave him up,
taken care of.
they was taken care of, and so why did you give him up type situation. And the truth is that no one was taken care of. Everyone was hurting, from the little boy to the mom to Geoffrey, just because they had to blow up the whole family after one decision that was made. You know what I mean? So that was crazy.
Yeah. No, I agree. One of my favorite parts of this episode is Phil buying out the restaurant for Aunt Viv for their anniversary dinner. And they have a conversation in here called radical honesty. And if you're not familiar with it, go look it up. It's actually something that they do in therapy. And what I like about this is she says a lot of things that many women have said before, right? It's like you're doing all the right things, but you're not doing the things that matter. Yes, it's very nice that you rented out the whole restaurant and this is great, but okay, so and what else? Not that I'm ungrateful.
That's
right?
ungrateful as hell. I don't care.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like, but what else, right? What else has a meaning? Because this is meaningful to you, right? Let's be clear. There's a two parts in a relationship. Him doing this, he thought it was for her. It's really for him. It's really for him to say, I'm doing what I want to do. And, I'm excited to do something for you. But this is really to say, like, I'm apologizing. This is, like, I can do these things still for you kind of situation. And she mentions that. She says, like, I'm tired, like we put the kids in front of us. We put our careers in front of us, I thought we were over this. Talks about how she does find Sharif sexy and that he's attractive and he finds her attractive. He makes her feel beautiful and sexy. And Phil goes down and says that, Erica makes him feel like she wants him. And so he feels wanted by her and he doesn't know if he feels wanted by Viv. So, I mean, there's so many things to unpack in this conversation here because it really is just two people really bringing the truth and the honesty to the forefront. And I think that this really does take their relationship to their marriage to a different level.
I think radical honesty was definitely left field at first, but I definitely feel it was supposed to have happened. I think they gained a lot from it, and I low-key feel Viv was just being a brat because you say he does everything correctly or everything right, but it's still like, what else? And that right there sucks because
it's not the what else.
No, listen. Wait a minute. He was doing the things that he felt mattered, which was still making time, still taking you out. You're the one who didn't want it that way. So you could have just said, hey, let's do something different. And he would have adjusted his plan. But you weren't given anything. What have we seen Viv do for Phil? Let's keep it a bean.
What have we seen
as far as making time for them? She come through with when he needed a cater, but the cater trying to fuck her now. Yeah, she came.
That's
through.
not that doesn't.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so outside of this, what has Phil done for Viv?
What do you mean?
Outside of this, what did he do? Go ahead.
Outside, well, he just got in trouble. So
no, okay. And before he was in trouble, what was he doing?
What do you mean? He was telling her she's beautiful. He was,
oh my god,
doing all this stuff, like making her feel wanted.
You didn't mention shit just now. You do realize that you literally you went through this whole spill trying to make it seem like he was doing something big and he didn't.
Let me go back.
They wasn't making time for each other. Let's be very clear.
Listen,
it was not one-sided.
He was trying.
Listen.
He was trying.
No, trying. That's exactly where y'all be ending up in the shit in the camp. Trying to do what?
But my thing is though. So I feel that Phil has bought her flowers he has called her beautiful. He has tried to celebrate her verbally in the moments that they were together. Has he or has he not?
Listen, first of all, Phil.
Listen, at the little thing when Erica
No.
was
Why?
acting weird,
Because she was by his side.
his wife.
Phil gives her flowers when it pertains to him. Let's be very clear. Let's not do
Yeah.
this because I got
Running the
receipts.
campaign and telling
I
her
got
that he needs her. Like, this is stuff that he did.
That's not to be on your side. You do realize that that's not helping you at all. Him running a campaign and leaning on her to put her dreams on the back burner
It's
and
not
then
really,
not
but
following
my
up.
thing is
Come
though,
on, bro.
but he told her that he's proud of her. He told her that he celebrates everything that
After
she's
the
doing.
fact, bro. You not
You-
winning
after
this
what
fight.
fact?
You're
After
not
what
gonna win
fact?
it. You're
All
not
I'm
gonna win the
saying
fight, bro.
All I'm saying
The
is, what
most
did she
grandiose
do
thing that
to
Phil has
say?
done thus
What
far
has
in
she
all 3
communicated to
seasons
Phil? What
is
has she
this.
communicated to Phil before this Sharif guy came into the picture?
They've communicated way beforehand. They
Don't
both
worry, I went.
conversation. They didn't have this conversation. Listen, me sacrificing for you as your wife, that's not me doing something. That's like you're supposed to be thankful and grateful and because I'm sacrificing for you. But there's times where you're supposed to just do things. When did he send random flowers to her office? When did he send random flowers to the house to just say thank you? Like, what we talking about here? They both did not make time for each other the way they should have.
And all
Right?
I'm saying
And
is,
Viv is not ungrateful. If you do things that matter to me, it just because it matters to you does not mean it matters to me. Let's be very clear. That's an unfortunate side effect of relationships, but because it matters to you doesn't mean it matters to me. It's just
right? You know
what
what?
it is.
You know what? You know what? That's the problem, because you're supposed to take both sides into consideration.
You
And,
are. It's a disconnect.
and she what was she doing to help the situation? She wasn't communicating to Phil. She wasn't talking to Phil. She was complaining over here in the corner to the homegirl at the job.
Yeah, because this is after the fact when Erica kissed this man and he told her, you know what, moving on. I'm not doing this with you. Radical honesty is very interesting, and it's a conversation that that most times you have with a therapist, and then you can have it outside of the therapist. But anyway.
I did like radical honesty though. I'm just trolling, guys, I swear, but I feel like for both of them, for it to get to that point of radical honesty, there should have been a little bit more open honesty. And that's all I want to say.
Yeah, radical honesty can happen at any time. It doesn't have to be something major happening. They could have had it before, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's a great opportunity to do it. Nobody's in this restaurant with you, so perfect timing.
When Sharif made that thing get a heartbeat, she should have told her husband.
And the same way he should have told her that he kissed Erica.
We already he didn't kiss Erica. Erica kissed him. Can we get it right?
All right. Well,
can we get it right?
I had it right all the time. I just now said it that way, so it's fine.
Okay.
Nobody
all
is.
Right, Erica.
So anyway, they both got missteps, and they both should have been honest. And they here now, so they need to just deal with the repercussions of their actions. Both of them.
All
Okay,
right, we can agree to disagree. And
now continuing on, Jackie is back over there by the pickleball game, and unfortunately, Roddy Rich or Pony Rich. I don't know why I'm getting these names wrong, but anyway, so Pony Rich is over there. He finally makes an appearance, but Jackie is waiting on somebody. This man is drunk, belligerent, being very verbally disrespectful to her and almost physically aggressive and out of pocket with her. And thankfully we'll see it.
That whole scene, I'm very fortunate for Will, man, for being there to step in, because that could have been so much worse. Because just in the direction of what the insults and the slurs were going, and he was just sloppy, like he was being belligerent, like it was just
right.
Like I feared for her at that point. Like
I feared for her, but I mean, we're also in a very public space. I think the most that could have happened was, just very, I don't know. It just, to me, I felt like he was too clumsy. He did get touchy. He grabbed her, right? He grabbed her. He commented on her body. It could have gotten worse, but it didn't. Like we said, Will was there, and thankfully he had to choose, but thankfully he was there. He had to decide whether he was going to make this run to Pony Ridge or if he was going to help Jackie. He decided to help Jackie. Miss Tina comes over. She says, next time, come get me. Please, sir, just walk it off. Which, I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, just in case, because she's going to try to diffuse the situation so that he doesn't come back complaining on Will or Jackie. And then we have a whole nother situation on our hands. Right. And so I think that's just one of those situations where it's a very touchy thing, because I don't know if I would have liked, I don't particularly care for how Miss Tina handled that, if I'm being honest, because I think asking what's going on over here, being very clear this man is belligerent, drunk, and making inappropriate comments and touching Jackie should have been kind of clear. But nonetheless, Will takes the heat for it. She tells him to go cool off, and so he misses his opportunity with Pony Ridge. But on the flip side of that,
I'm agreeing with you. I did not like how she definitely treated that situation like she wanted to sweep it under the rug. Like, this is something that happens here at this country club often. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like they need to wake up a bigger conversation. Like, is this something that goes on here often? And if so, who else have been affected by this type of men? Like, wake it up. Because I feel like that's something that we can't stand for. Regardless of it just happening this one time, it should not happen anytime. You know what I mean? So hopefully they take some proper steps within the next episode, season, whatever, towards that, like bringing awareness to that, to make these women on the campus, on the course, on the club feel safe. You know what I mean? Like, whether you're staff or a guest. So
yeah, I agree. So of course, Carlton and Ash have a moment where they talk. I love this because Carlton and Ash were definitely like this, and seeing them get back to that is very beautiful. So of course, Ash's, word, you can see the worry on her face, and Carlton just reassures her that, hey, it's gonna be okay. And she asked him why, and he says because they fight for everything that they love. Us, Will, and they're gonna fight for each other. They're gonna fight for this family. And I love that moment that they have together. And so after, and let's go back real quick, because after the radical honesty, they have this moment where they're like, we're here, we want to be here, we're choosing to be here, I want to be with you, you want to be with me. They dance, they have a moment, they share a passionate kiss. And so when we get back to Carlton and Ash, they get home, and Ash and Carlton has put together like
an anniversary video, man. Like,
anniversary video,
time capsule photos. I'm not gonna lie to you, the AI generated young Phil and Viv photos look so real. They looked really good. Okay, I just want to say, like, you could tell a couple of them, but like for the most part, it's like, wow, like I can see my man's had a hairline at one point. Like, it was funny. Like,
nah, not my man had a hairline at one point. It was, and of course he played the classic Tony anniversary in the back, and it's just up from there, and I love that they really have their moments. And this is where we see again Black love, Black couples actually reconciling, moving past the bullshit, and really just saying like, hey, we're choosing this. And that's really a big part of being in a relationship, being in a marriage, is that constantly choosing your person. You have to constantly choose your person. You have to show up for your person. You have to be willing to compromise. You do have to communicate. I will agree with you on all those things. And I think that even though it took them going through this and having that radical honesty conversation and having that big moment of like, I just want to feel like we put ourselves first, is really huge, especially once kids enter the picture. We're talking about really big careers, kids that have real problems, as they said, and that matters. Okay. So I really did love that. Ironically enough, nobody did show up on that day for Ash's band, but somebody shows up the next day, right? And we see this guy who's like, dang, I'm a day late, and she's like, well, if you got some free time, come in, listen to some vinyl. And he's stoked.
Well, they.
Well, they. No, she said they do, he and they. So I'm right. non-binary essentially, but so I really like that, of course. And so I love that moment because you can see the joy in Ashley's face that somebody actually gets her, understands that the music needs to be powerful, not just, made just because, So I like that. Of course, we see Phil doing the termination letter, resigning to Erica's firm, right? Not sure how that's gonna go over, but we see that he's about business and he's standing on that for Viv and the family. And I love that. Frederick decided to move out. So
that was crazy. I feel like
is it though?
Because she gave you up too. And he said if he had to choose between her and Geoffrey, he's gonna pick her. And I thought that
because she's the one that he's been around with. She's the one that has made contact sooner than Geoffrey. She's been in contact with him longer than Geoffrey has been in contact with him.
Okay.
Which is why he chose her. And most of the time, boys are gonna choose their mom. Most. If they have a good enough relationship. But so nonetheless, he moves baby mama in because
in this show everybody's a mama's boy. So
listen, I mean, but listen, he moves the baby mama in. They're neither one of them are sure about it, and they both have attitudes toward each other, which is mad funny to me. Right. And then of course ending out the episode, Amira, because she decides she wants to tell Carlton that their next high is cliff diving again.
First of all, I didn't like that she used that terminology. Okay,
I don't. This is her second time using it.
Yeah, like she could have said our next adventure, our next fun time, our next something. Not high, because now you're using trigger words that's bringing my man's down, and I don't need you to do that. So Carlton, please drop this girl like a bad habit. That's really how I'm feeling. Because like as we see, she only cares about herself, but she's an adrenaline junkie. Like I ain't go front. She gave him the
all right, moving on. It's not worth this man doing all this extra shit that he's doing.
That's a fact. Like Amira might need the crazy house for real. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. She might be in rehab, but she might need to go with the straight jackets. I know.
She needs something, but we'll see. Now in episode 6, this is where things get tricky.
Because in actually the very end, we see Will text his mom like, "I need you."
Yeah,
and
this is facts.
So the opening scene for 6 is Will's mom coming into town, which is, as we know from the sitcom, like a pivotal time in Will's life. So it's triggering like, "Hey, mom, I miss you. I ain't see you in months. Let's get it." And as we also roll up to the crib,
so of course, like I said, with Jazz and Uncle Phil has taken on the Campbell's project, right? This is where he wants to bring, I think it's like a movie theater, grocery store and some other things to town. And Phil has decided to take this project on, knowing that it's going to come with some things. And as we see in the opening scene, there's a whole protest going on at his front gate. There have been protests all over the city, and he's still decided that he wants to take it on, knowing that there are going to be some rough things coming around. And one of those rough things being that Jazz's place, Charlie's, his vinyl shop, music shop, is also on, up for being bought, basically, right?
Well, it's not really up for being nothing. Like I feel.
Well, he wants to buy it. They want to buy out the neighborhood. So
it's the next thing on the chopping block. Because at the end of the day, Jazz is in debt on the property. So it's either he could sell it and make money, or it can get taken from him and go to auction, and then he makes no money. So it's kind of a win-win situation for both Phil and Jazz. because I feel with that whole situation that Phil's not gonna do Jazz dirty. He's not gonna present him with a bad offer. He's not gonna do him bad, you know?
No, I agree with you, but remember, we know how this works, right? When it comes to gentrification, they come in, they raise the prices so you can't afford what you were already paying in on a building or business that you had. So, yes, of course, this is a win-win, but at the same time, it's not. I do think that at least Uncle Phil is saying, like, hey, like, you can take this money, you can get out of debt, you don't have to worry about scraping for pennies, and you can start over. However, on the flip side of that, I understand that being here for as long as Jazz has been here, right? Because they mentioned that the shop has been there and his uncle used to host Black Panthers meetings in the back. So this is a staple in the community. And just like his friend Yolanda said, if you sell, what hope do other people have? And I mean, it's a very tough position to be in.
Yolanda is not helping him with his debt problem.
Hey, listen, I agree with you. I'm not going to argue.
And that's the problem here. Like, everyone always has so much to say about what people should save their businesses and things like that, but they've been in this community for how long? How many times have you come in here to shop, Miss Community? And that's what got me. Like, everyone is so quick to tell him what he should do, what he shouldn't do, but the only person that's given to him real was Phil in that moment. Like, yo, listen, this is from a friend. Take the money and get some rest. You can start over. You can start a new business. You can start a new Charlie's. You know what I mean? Like, I understand this is a building. This is it. That's it. But the name of Charlie's is what's going to carry over. Is that right there. That's going to keep that same energy. It's how you rebuild, how you rebrand. That's going to add more life into this.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. And as we see, you know, Jazz decides to not take the offer and he tells Phil that he's not done hustling yet and that he's going to try to do what he can to save his business. And so, listen, I respect it. We'll see how it goes from here. But
Jazz need to wake up and smell a freaking coffee, man. Because at the end of the day,
listen, you can fight and lose and you can fight and win. So at the end of the day, it's still a fight, right? So it just... it is what it is. Man, so
I'd rather go with the sure thing over something so trivial.
It's powerful to him, but you know, hey, I get it.
Don't say Jazz need to get Hilary back. He need the money.
I mean, you know, that's true too. So of course, you know, speaking of Hilary stops by because as we see in the opening of this episode as well, Vi is back and she's in town. And so Hilary comes to say hello, and in the midst of saying hello, she goes to see her sister Ashley, and Ashley is in here making raps. And as we've seen before, Ashley has no qualms with rapping about her family. So she's in here doing a sister diss, okay? And Hilary makes a joke and says, well, at least we ain't call me a bitch. She said, I ain't done yet. I said, God damn. Okay. In the midst of that, you know, of course, Ashley's like, did you, you know, like giving her that look, like, did you tell LaMarcus? She said, hey, I was going to tell LaMarcus, but he had his accident, right? And, you know, I'm just glad that he's alive. I do love him. And I think this is the first time I'm actually convinced she really does love LaMarcus. The way that she says it has like some sincerity and genuinity around it. And so
I feel she always loved him. I don't think there was ever a question. I mean, whether the question was whether or not she was over Jazz.
Okay, I'll give you that. So
that was always the question.
Yeah, so we see that Hill does what she does. You know, she's talking to Ash. They're having a great sister conversation after the sister this, and she proceeds to ask Ash to be her maid of honor. And I love that, of course, because she is her only sister. And what a great way, you know, to have that moment of sisters bonding together. So I do like that, but I also do feel like it's a little bit of a good way to get Ashley's mind off of the fact that she didn't tell LaMarcus about this kiss with Jazz. So
but at the end of the day, man, it's about timing. The same with like her daddy. He didn't tell about the kiss because all the stuff that was going on at the time, it made it a very awkward time to tell the truth, you know. So
no, bro. I'm not letting you
in this case, because you might not agree with Phil, but at least
yes, in this case,
Hillary's
absolutely.
case, my man's had the worst heart attack of his life, cardiac arrest. His dad still trying to push him out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's still so much going on in this family that, like,
yeah,
she can't tell him that he gonna die again.
okay. We don't want him to die again, but
Look, he gonna die
you ain't
again.
shit for that. Anyway,
What?
moving on.
Did he not die?
He died. We don't want him to die again. All right.
All
So
right,
moving
thank you.
on. Ash has definitely expanded in this episode and the last episode, right? So her friend Eli comes over and they sitting on the beanbag in her room. The door is already open. Aunt Viv
Right.
comes through and is like, "Hey, let me talk to you for a second. Hi, Eli." She's like, "Hey, you know, there are no boys in the room." And she's like, "His pronouns are he and they." And you know, so she's like, "All right." I think Aunt Viv is a little confused, but
Aunt Viv got threw in the blender with those pronouns. Okay, those pronouns messed her up. Welcome to modern day.
Listen, it happens, but I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't have said anything because the door is already open, and I don't think Ash is the type of person to close the door. I even feel like when Olivia is there, the door is open. So, but I get the reiteration of saying keep the door open,
right?
like it's something that our
This
parents
is the
did.
first guy friend that she had. Okay, Olivia's Olivia. You know,
What?
like she's been there.
Not the first
she's
guy
been around.
I'm done with your shenanigans.
I'm just saying.
Seriously.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm saying, man, this is the first time that we've seen Hilary didn't even have no guy friend in her room in their house
because Hilary moved out. First of all, Hilary was in the pool house. Let's be very clear. Hilary was in the pool house when this all first started. Okay, who was checking for who had Hilary in it? Who Hilary had in the pool house? Nobody. Let's be real. Nobody.
Listen, man.
All
I'm saying is Ashley had her first guy friend, and Viv had to make sure that the guy was really he they, and leave it to they.
Yeah, I'm
more than the he.
I'm done with your
Tell the he. Aunt Viv wanted to say, let one foot be in the door, one out the door. Now the he part is outside, the they part is in the room. Okay, because that's what she wanted to say.
You're going to hell for that.
I might be.
I'm done with you. Moving into more shenanigans, right?
Man. Shout
Carlton's
out to little baby Lenny Kravitz.
Yes, not little baby Lenny Kravitz, but yes,
he's a rock star. Like, come on,
he is. They
come on.
They is okay. So moving into more shenanigans, Carlton tells Amir about the panic attack at the club, or the flashback, or I don't know what they call these things, so forgive me, but he tells her that he had a moment of weakness at the club where he just felt like things were going to get really, really bad, and that he called Spencer, and Spencer talked to him and told him that it's maybe he should really be focusing on himself, and he's thinking that things are good for him when they're really not. And she proceeds to say, am I one of those things? And then says, well, whatever you need, I support, because the last thing I want to do is impact your sobriety or make things harder on you, which is clearly not true, because then the old girl turns around, and when they get to the NA meeting, she confronts Spencer, goes off on him, saying like, I'm tired. Huh?
So I said Spencer didn't deserve that.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I love Spencer's reaction to this. I love how it went down, because she was loud, things could have got messy, but Spencer was like, I'm not about to argue with a teenager. Facts.
Right.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Secondly, you don't know me. Fact number two, I do know you. And whatever that look was, where that pause happened at the end, Spencer knows something that we don't know. Okay, and y'all can let me know if y'all feel the same way in the comments, but I guarantee you Spencer knows something that we don't know, because Shorty is pulling game. And so she goes off on Spencer and says basically that hey, like, if you got something to say to me, say it to my face, and maybe we'll find another NA meeting. And he's like, as long as you're doing what you need to do for your sobriety, boo, do you. Okay. Carlton pulls her to the side and is like, what's happening? And she's like, oh, Spencer's not there for me. He's only there for you. And I need somebody in my corner. And you can see Carlton's hesitancy, right? Because he's like, I am here for you. Proceeds to tell him that he hasn't spoken to his parents about her, which he in then turn says, hey, I did. They want to have you over for dinner tomorrow night. And she goes, no, tomorrow night. And then she says, really? Thanks. I love you. Which is a very weird way. Like, I don't know. Is your first reaction to the parents who want to have you over thanks or thank you? I don't know if I would say thanks or thank you to that.
I would have been like, so when were you gonna tell me?
Yeah, I would have been like, yeah, that probably would have been my thing too. Like, so why am I just finding out about this? Basically,
right?
Something
because I was going to tell you after the NA meeting. That's what the next lie he would have told. But but hey, long story short, I feel like Spencer didn't deserve it. Spencer definitely knows more than what he has told up to this point. I feel this isn't the first person Amira has dealt with from an NA meeting or from rehab or some type of instance like this. I really hope Carlton is safe, even though she is a psycho. I really do. Like, I just hope that whatever goes on is something that he could bounce back from and it won't damage him any further than he's already been hurt. I do feel like he's gonna get like the ordinary breakup hurt, but I don't want him to go to a slippery slope spiral type of hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But I mean, as we see, it kind of takes a turn on like in two ways, right? Because they set up dinner. Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv are sitting there after he's asked Aunt Viv during her yoga session, sir, I could slap you. We all know you don't interrupt people during yoga. What's wrong with you, sir? This is literally
that's the
me
time.
clearing my mind.
That's the time to ask though, while she's at peace.
No, it's not. Because
no.
Listen, you come over here disturbing my yoga, I'm gonna give you the stare of death, and we all know what the stare of death is because we've gotten it before, and I know that you as a dad have probably given it before. You're getting the stare of death. Now, go on about your business. Nonetheless, he asked the question. She says yes. They're sitting at the dinner table waiting for her to show up. She doesn't. She shows up hours later. She says, doesn't say anything to him, sits down, and he's like, so now you show up? And she's like, yeah, like it's been a really hard day for me. This is my sister's death anniversary. Aunt Vi comes down and she shares as well, that she didn't mean any disrespect, but this is her sister's death anniversary, and it's been a very hard day for her.
Vi is Will's mom.
Oh yeah, Aunt Viv, sorry. Yeah. But I mean, here is my thoughts on this, and guys, please comment and let me know how you feel. I feel like she's playing Carlton and she's playing Aunt Vi. Where's this sister?
Viv.
Show me a picture of this. Aunt Viv. Show me a picture of the sister, right? Yeah. Why didn't you never even mentioned you had a sister? What kind of truths are we really telling around here? Because my sister matters to me. Won't speak ill.
Didn't she never? No, he didn't say, why didn't you tell me about your sister? He said, why didn't you tell me about the anniversary? I think, like, this is the anniversary. I think he was more asking. I don't know. Like, is this sister thing real or false? Like, that's what I'm
trying to figure out.
It's definitely new to us, and it didn't seem new to Carlton. You know what I mean?
Remember he said, why didn't you tell me? Or maybe he was saying because something felt. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's just saying, why didn't you tell me about the death day? But why have we never had mention of a sister? Nonetheless, Viv comes down and you have this, like, I don't know. It just seemed very fake. It seemed so theatrical, and I just don't like it. She just doesn't give me good vibes. And I think that, first of all, Carlton is in no capacity to be being there for somebody else when he still needs to be there for himself, going through sobriety.
And also, like, she kept on saying, like, you want me messing all? Like, what's the mess, sweetheart? Like, I need to know what the mess is. Like, what is the mess? Like, you give it messy already, and I'm not liking this mess that you talking. So, like, yeah,
the mess is exactly what she's doing right now, and not to mention that, like, again, after all this is happening, and you mentioned it when we was watching, right, that you consider this love bombing. She shares her location with him, and then she tells him that she loves him, gives him a kiss, and it's very cringe.
It's very cringe. Like the eyes that she was making, she had crazy eyes, man. Like she needs a straight jacket, she needs some padded walls, she needs some slippers with no straps, you know, soft everything. Okay, like I don't know what to tell her. Like that is crazy. She need the whole shebang. She need medicine on the hour. Like yeah, yeah. She need to make sure they got the flashlight. Make sure lift your tongue. Uh-huh.
All right, I'm done with your shenanigans. Seriously, you out of pocket right now. We
Listen,
going.
man, that lady crazy. She started crying at the drop of a hat. I don't believe her sister really died. I don't. But hey, but Carlton also, like I said, didn't seem shocked by it. So
Yeah, so maybe we missed something in
maybe
another previous episode.
I don't know. Let us know, man. Did she say something about her sister? Like, did she not? Is it new to y'all? Because it's new to us. I'm confused. But I do know one thing I'm not confused about is that Carlton need to listen to Spencer and what he didn't say, because silence speak a lot more louder than words sometimes. And Spencer, what you not telling us, brother? That's all I need. Well, what do I call Spencer?
I mean, yeah.
What's tea, sis? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. I also think that, you know, yeah, she's just not good for him. I don't like it. We'll have to see what happens from here on out, but I'm not a fan. So, but let's move into what I am a fan of, because we have been waiting. We have been waiting, okay?
Not gonna lie.
This was everything.
I screeched, screamed, yelled, jumped, hollered, kicked my feet together when I saw Joseph Marcel into the screen. Okay. And for you guys, Joseph Marcel is the original Geoffrey, in case you didn't know. Now you know. And his character name is Roman, who happens to be Geoffrey's friend that we thought was going to be the one to look out for Frederick and his mom, but ended up going to jail. So that right there is just exciting, because as we know, like Geoffrey and Penelope were gearing up to meet up with Roman to get some answers, to see like what happened, to know why their family got broken up so badly, basically. And with the beginning scene for this was crazy. Okay.
So I just love the fact that he came in with a bodyguard, right? And they do the shop floor up, and it's like so amazing. First of all, just I love the original class, the cast. I love, and this is just such a far way to introduce him. And not only is he Geoffrey, but he a Caribbean version of Geoffrey. Because my mind gonna say Wagwan.
Wagwan. Wagwan, Geoffrey.
I love it. And yeah, so we see him, we think that he's here to, like you said, you know, to help the situation, figure out what's going on. But Roman makes things very clear. You engaging with Frederick put a target on his back. Her engaging with Frederick also put a target on his back. And now all three of your location is known, and it's just a matter of time. So the deal is you for Frederick, right? You come back, you work for the organization because the organization is in shambles, and no harm will come to Frederick. And so, you know, G has a really tough decision to make. And of course we know what decision, and you know what I mean, what he's gonna do, right? Because he's not gonna
no one knows for sure what decision he was gonna make. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I knew he was giving himself up for Frederick.
I'm not gonna lie, because I said, yo, you can let that little nigga go. I ain't gonna lie to you. He got, you know, listen, we can let him go. Wow, yo, I still don't trust Frederick.
Crazy.
I still don't trust Frederick. I don't know
that's
why.
Crazy.
I still don't. Even though we found out the person was only his mom and all that, I truly just feel like he gives, like,
I mean, he's a teenager who's making trouble. Like, there's nothing else to it. I think that's exactly what it is. And
That's what
he's,
it is?
yeah, I don't think it's anything more than
You don't
that.
think it's anything more?
So, but we see G having the conversation with Will, saying, you know what I'm saying, like, what's going on, is he really 22? I gotta figure this out. Tone be catching things for us, and I love it. But
you kept saying he's a teenager. He's in college. He's
college.
And he got a job at the firm. That's a fact. He had to be older than 21. I told you that before.
Well, hey, listen, still nonetheless, he's just a guy who was in hiding, who's no longer in hiding, who's sneaking around with his mama, and that's that. But we see the conversation between G and Phil, right? And Phil is like, there's got to be another way. Like, how can we figure this out? And G is just like, I don't know. But as we continue to see as we go down into the episode, my man, first of all, I was very confused. I was like, very confused.
That damn knife, right?
I'm like, what's happening right now? We're not about to do what I think you ought to do. So,
the knife.
He goes and he opens up the boxing bag. I mean, was that harder? Like, I'm trying. What's usually in a boxing bag? Sand. That got to be hard. He was definitely getting a workout in by hitting all that money.
That's a fact. But
I feel like a real workout in.
I feel like he didn't need to go freaking 007 just to get money out of a duffel bag, out of a punching bag. Okay, like he really was young man.
I mean, Rambo. Listen,
he went straight Rambo on the boxing bag for no reason. Like, what was that for? But I think I ain't gonna lie though, it was cool looking.
It was
a bit extra. It was just a bit.
Hey, listen, it was necessary because you have to remember G's personality is somebody who, you know what I'm saying, he moved differently. So I think that it just worked with his character. But nonetheless, he goes, he gets the bag of money, he fills it up, and he takes it to Roman, and he says, like, this is how you're gonna build the empire back up. And Roman is like, I don't know if they're gonna go for that. And G says, make them go for it. Make them know that's their only option. And obviously he knows that that's their only option because he's like, okay. He's like, all right, bye, Geoffrey.
That's what they really want is money. That's money talks, man. And
money does talk.
That's really what it is. So
money does talk.
My question is, do you think that's really going to be the end of it, though?
I think so. The only reason why I say that is because if it wasn't, Roman would have been a little bit harder to sell, in my opinion. Like, he would have, that scene would have dragged out longer or something of the sort. So I think that they probably.
The Geoffrey brought a tear to my eye.
Aww.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm telling you, when I seen this man in the show, it really excited me. So, like, now, like, he at the end of his cameo, he's like, bye, Geoffrey. And then he like kind of fades him out, and the new Geoffrey is the focal point. And it's like, yo, like it was the
cinematography was fire. Yeah,
it was a great moment, man. Great job, man. Y'all know how to pull on the heartstrings over there. And I feel like that was the most like dramatic ending to a character that we're gonna see from the previous seasons, like from the previous series. Like the Aunt Vivs, when they came on, like they didn't have that much of a dramatic exit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this had so much more depth to it, and it's like it definitely grabbed me.
I mean, also because the character is much more dark. You know what I mean? Aunt Viv's character was very light, even though she was a little feisty trying to get up out of there on that demon tip, but still, I think that because of Roman's character, Geoffrey's character, like they kind of needed that fade out. So I like that a lot.
Gotcha.
So of course, last but definitely not least, Will, Vi, and Lou. This whole dynamic has been very interesting throughout the entire episode. Will texts on Vi that he needs her to come to LA, and as Tone so eloquently pointed out, that Will was going to try to get the family dynamic together to some degree because he's seeing Aunt Viv, and Uncle Phil really connect. He's also seeing Uncle Phil, Viv, and Carlton connect, and the family dynamic, is something that he's like, can I at least repair to have a conversation? Maybe not nothing more than that, but the need to have a conversation. What's big about this is that sometimes it is the child who has to bring the parents together, and I think that parents also need to understand that this is not about you. Okay, so sit down somewhere and do what needs to be done for the kid.
Sat down is crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you,
Sat down somewhere.
but it is
I
the truth though. I will say this episode is something spectacular because it's something that we don't normally get to see, which is true closure for not only the two parties involved, but the people that it affected along the way, and which is their son. And with Lou and Vi, they had the same everyday problems as a lot of us who's in relationships and people who might fall on a hard time here and there. You know what I mean? Like, and it just really gave something that I feel we don't normally see, and that's both sides of the story when it comes to situations. You know what I mean? Like, Vi, we all know her to hate Lou. He's this. Everyone's he's a 2-bit hustler. That. He did this and did that. He robbed this man, saying that he owed him money. But to get the back end of that story, Lou's part, when she said, I looked at him and told him I will leave you if you it's been 5 days. Go get
5 days freezing. Yeah,
you know that right there is just so crazy to me, and I love that Will was able to receive that from both his parents, and that's something that she was very apprehensive about as far as his mom.
Yeah, so let's start with how she actually went in on Viv. Called her parenting soft, told her that she let Will give up the only thing that's going to help him get into college, which was basketball. Basically saying that she doesn't ever want to see Lou. And this is after Will has asked her and said, I just want to have a conversation. I want to get some questions answered. And she basically tells him no. And in that moment, she's being selfish. She was only thinking about herself. And then she proceeded to take that out on Aunt Viv, which, to me is literally the process of hurting people, right? Like, you took it out. You're not even mad with Will. You're mad at the situation because you're not even really mad with Lou. You're mad at the dynamic, the actual situation. And now you're taking that out on Will a little bit, and then you take it out on Viv. And so just that whole scene, a transition, and them talking about it is really kind of crazy. But Viv says, that might not be such a bad thing. Honesty really does make things better. You got to get over that hump, obviously, initially. But at the point of the matter is, honesty makes things better. And so she later agrees to it with Will. They use the NA meeting center to have, neutral ground. And listening to Lou tell his story, he says, and honestly, this is a painful story, even in just a fictional matter, because to lose, his dad died in prison. And then I believe he said a year later, his mom passed. And so just like that, he was on his own. He had neither of his parents, and he did what he thought he needed to do. And then he met, Aunt Vi, and, things progressed from there. And so just listening to that, seeing him talk about basketball and saying, I gave up basketball, and it's for me to see my son doing the same thing. It's kind of crazy, but also him admitting that it's hard for him to see what's going on with, with him and the relationship that he has built with Phil and Viv and Carlton and Hilary and Ashley, because he has something very similar and he ruined it essentially. Right. And so he just wants to make sure he's not making the same mistake. This whole, like I said, bless you, this whole scene, this whole storyline with Lou, Will, and Vi is very powerful, because sometimes it is up to us as children to heal that part of us that we want so badly for our parents to be adult enough and emotionally healed enough to come through and be like, hey, let's have this conversation. It needs to happen. But at the end of it all, we realized that it was a ripple effect. She said you need to get that money. He went to go get the money, this, burglarizing this man, and these things happen, and he ended up in jail.
And that's another thing too. I feel like it probably didn't even go the way that it sounded like it went down. It sounded like he went over there, talked to this man. This man probably tried to get crazy with him. Then they probably had a little tussle. He called the cops, say he tried to rob me.
Yeah, and just
And
like that, your life
just like
changes
that,
and
just like that,
your
you're like,
freedom is taken away.
especially because a lot of these people, especially back in the day, they was really talking down on black people.
Yeah,
Like,
they were.
boy, you gonna get what I give you type situation. You know what I mean? Like, and no grown man want to feel like that, especially when they got a brand new baby at home, a woman nagging you in your ear.
Yeah.
Dude.
Agreed. I mean, sometimes again, and if when you don't have the tools, that's how things pan out, right? For somebody who has the tools, who knows my man lost his job, how do I support him? That would go totally different. When you don't have the tools, you're living in somewhat in poverty, right? And we know how that goes because that's how a lot of black households are. You don't have you're angry, and your anger gets taken out on the closest person near you.
Right.
But at the end of this episode, we see, Will outside tossing, shooting the basketball around, and we hear Lou's voice come from the background, and he's invited Lou to play basketball. And what I love about this is it ends with him saying, I'm damn proud of you, son. And I think that's just a powerful moment, full circle. This whole episode was full of full circles, actually.
Yes.
And I just love that we saw a lot of healing in this episode, which to me just says that it's very possible for the black family. And obviously it is happening, right? So art is life. Art imitates life. There is a lot of healing going on in black families. And this is just, for me, a really good reminder to keep going and to keep pushing.
I agree.
I love the way this episode ended. I love this entire episode because it is powerful, and I mean, I could watch it again actually.
Yes, I'm not gonna lie. I am gonna binge watch it again after the season is done. Because it was just that great. I really, like you said, like the ending of the episode, I did not see that coming.
Yeah,
with Lou and Will playing basketball against each other. I really wanted to see them play a little bit. I ain't gonna I wanted to see what Marlon Wayans got on the basketball court.
No, you know that wasn't gonna be Marlon. It's gonna be his stand-in. Get out of here.
Like, I want to see. They gonna make Marlon dunk too. If they was making Marlon dunk, I wanted to see it. Okay,
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
but
they should have made Geoffrey dunk too. We gonna make everybody dunk in this show.
At the very end, we'll do some dunking.
Geoffrey versus
but
Geoffrey.
listen,
who's gonna win? I'm just saying.
This was a beautiful episode. Let us know your thoughts, your comments. What you thought about each dynamic. Frederick, G, Penn, Will, Lou, Vi, Vivian, Phil, Carlton, Amira, Hilary, Ash, everything. Just let us know what you're thinking. And of course, again, thank you for rocking out with us. We know that we could have dropped this differently, but say lobby. Shit happens. We here now. Rock with us. And until next time, we'll see you. Peace.